mean, there definitely are interpretations to it, but yeah, but pretty much is that if you're going to, my grandfather had a saying, you know, when somebody would come up and be like, you know, hey, I got a really dirty, nasty joke, he would say, is it more funny than it is dirty? And I think that's sort of the way to lean towards, you know, if it's more positive than it is hurtful, that's what comedy is supposed to do. And it is a thin line, and you will cross it sometimes. I've crossed it sometimes, you know. Okay, most of the time. That's why they're all here. So, but there is this inner rebel, and there is this part of you that just says, I want to be challenged. I don't want to always be treated as a little kid. I want the hard stuff to hit me, and I want to say, I'm ready for it. I can take it on, and that is what comedy is trying to do. And the most important rule out of all this stuff, everything that I said, is that you don't have to listen to a goddamn thing I said. Because I don't. What? As if you don't.
Please
because that is how comedy works. You go out there, you experiment, you try stuff that's different, and it's not exact science. So you can go out there and you can try whatever you think will work, and sometimes you'll fail, sometimes you'll succeed. And you just sort of measure and you see what catches on, what doesn't, what kind of audience you're looking for, or what hits the mass majority of people, or just a little niche or whatever. That is what comedy is trying to do. So go out there, spread the positivity, and make people laugh. Let's take questions.
Yeah.
Yes?
I know you're talking about Chris Farley earlier. I was wondering, what's your opinion on like Tommy Boy and Black Sheep and any other movies?
What's my opinion on Tommy Boy and Black Sheep and Chris Farley movies? This is probably an unpopular opinion now. I don't like them. And I love him on Saturday Night Live. I think he's an incredible comedian. I just don't get into those movies. But I know they got a huge following. Do you like those movies?
They were fine like the first time I saw them on SNL, but when you make an entire movie based around like 3 sketches, you kind of get bored after a while.
Too long.
And then you make another movie and another movie based on the exact same sketches.
Is David Spade in it?
Yes.
But I know, I mean, we can't stand it, but I know a ton of people that love those movies.
My wife loved Tommy Boy.
Yeah, I mean, more people I know like that movie than dislike it, honestly. So, yeah, there you go. So it's just going to be different for everybody. Let's go, yeah, guy in the black and red shirt.
Have you ever seen the movie Freddy Got Fingered?
When I see Freddy Got Fingered, the trailer was enough for me. Anything else about it, or? I say that, and Family Guy tries to do this too, now it's starting to get a term, it's like anti-comedy, and Tom Green is very anti-comedy, and my thought is, if it's anti-comedy, why should I laugh at it? So, that's just sort of my thought on the whole thing. Let's see, someone over here, let's do, Superman shirt there.
Yeah, you said that slapstick comedy is your favorite type of humor. Is that your favorite type of humor to write for the Nostalgia Critic, or do you have a different type you like to write?
Do I like writing slapstick for a Nostalgia Critic? I do, but it is tricky because there is still like a time schedule, and I know to get slapstick really good, the timing really has to be good. And timing is something, again, it's not exact science, and that's probably the hardest thing to teach, because it's like, there are laughs in animation, you know this too, I'm sure you do too, Looney Tunes and stuff. Chuck Jones used to say, literally a frame can make the difference between a laugh and no laugh. And with Nostalgia Critic, I think that's very true too. So it's tougher to do, but yeah, I do love writing for it, if I can work it in. I do love writing for it. Let's see, let's do a black shirt with a little white city there.
What do you hate more, the Sonic animation show or the Mario Bros. Animation show?
Do I hate the Sonic cartoon or the Mario cartoon more?
Hate more?
Oh, which one do I hate more? I'm assuming you mean like the not sad AM one, right?
Yeah.
You know what? Super Mario Brothers was just so awkward and clumsy. I'm just like, You know, and Sonic at least was so batshit crazy. It's like I can at least kind of get a laugh out of it. Let's do the blue shirt, the keep calm one there.
What was the worst thing you had to review on Nostalgia Critic? Like the worst movie, like the one that you hated the most?
Okay, hold on. Well, what's the worst movie I've ever had to review on Nostalgia Critic? Now, hold on. All those who say it know it on the say it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Garbage Pail Kids! Now disturbing. Yes. No, I said that out loud. Yeah, I'm just like, I really hate that movie. Let's see. Let's do the guy holding the hat turtle thing, whatever it is. Oh, skull. I'm sorry. God, wasn't even close.
Okay, so in the topic of shock humor, I think that it's a very interesting brand of comedy because you were saying that there's a line where you can offend people, you kind of want to dart around it. I actually feel that shock humor works better if you see that line and just rocket past it, like South Park. South Park offends everything, so that it becomes less offensive. There's no splits. It's everything. Like Cards Against Humanity works the same way. Like if Cards Against Humanity, like let's say they removed a card, like now the Holocaust card is too offensive. That becomes the only one. Now you have a baseline. So everyone's like, well, that's too offensive.
Well, no, don't get me wrong. It's definitely don't ever cross a line. I'm not saying that at all. I completely agree. If there's a line to cross, I say all the more reason to cross it. Because that means, like I said, the fear is winning. And people are too afraid. That's all the more reason to cross it. But again, I think there is a matter of sort of like the timing and how to approach it. Because you can deliver something. South Park, you're right. They make fun of everything, and they always push the limit and stuff. So you kind of get used to it. Nobody even cares anymore if they do something shocking. But if you're going to do something where you're kind of saying, yes, I do want it to be offensive, but I don't want it to hurt necessarily. And I think there is a difference. You can be like, I can't believe he talked about that. Well, it's kind of funny. Again, Louis C.K. is very good at that. People are laughing because it's so shocking, but it's so funny too. So no, I don't think there's a line to cross, honestly. But I do think there is a matter of sort of the timing of when to hit it. I would not go up to Mrs. Lincoln after Abraham got shot. Be like, yeah, a few holes in that plate, huh? Yeah, go ahead and say it. Too soon! So no, I'm quite offended by this. I do find responsibility doing that. Definitely. Guy waving the flag.
Yeah, I want to know if you're going to actually review two movies, Dragon Ball Evolution and
What was the second one?
Mind Python and the Holy Grail.
Why would I review that? I love that movie.
You said that you review movies that you love and movies that suck.
I don't think I can get much comedy out of something that's already funny. Look at them trying to be British. Dragon Ball Evolution I wouldn't do because I haven't watched the show.
You don't need to, trust me. Watch it, you will hate it, and it will be a great review. Trust me. I love the show, and that thing was terrible.
Oh yeah, no, of course. That's what I hear. So probably not, but you never know. We'll see. Let's go with Derpy Hooves back there.
Yeah, wait.
Knowing your professional careers, who's worse, Shyamalan or Nicolas Cage?
Okay, who's worse, Shyamalan or Nicolas Cage? Okay, Cage, first of all, has legitimate talent. I think he just rarely uses it. Let me put it this way, intentionally uses it. I think like when he does his freakouts and his awkwardness and stuff, it's very entertaining. Shyamalan is entertaining too in how bad he is, but I think he really thinks like, no, I'm really good. And Nicolas Cage can go into movies like, no, I'm crap. I'll try in 5 movies, don't worry. He'll have a good movie and be great at it. So yeah, that's probably my take on that. Let's see, let's do Gatorade.
Alright. Based on the delivery distribution, what is your favorite Monty Python skit or joke?
I could say very good. My favorite Monty Python skit. You guys should answer too because it's Monty Python. Yes. My absolute favorite is the one. It's a really long one too. With it has all of them, and it's one where there's like a Hollywood producer. It's this real big shot, and he's just coming up with a movie, and there's nothing but a long table of yes men. Trying to agree, but this guy is so impossible and constantly changing his mind that they're constantly stuck in traps, and every single time they answer something he doesn't like, they're fired. So it's trying to find that right answer, and every single one's getting fired as it gets closer and closer down the line, and it's just the greatest panicking of people and them trying to figure out just how to keep their livelihood. So no, I love that one. How about you?
Squeak, 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 squeak. Oh my God! I saw that when I was a kid, and I was like, when are they gonna? Oh my God, the portrait of me!
That's a great one. I mean,
I like the one where they paid John Cleese to disagree with you.
Oh, that's right. No, have an argument.
Have an argument.
Yeah.
That's it, right.
And then they have an argument about whether or not it is an argument. I love it. It's really, really good writing. Yes, from
Where do you think self-deprecating humor fits under your sort of paradigm that you've created for comedy?
where does self-deprecating humor? Actually, that's something very important to bring up. Any humor, and I strongly believe this, any humor you're going to throw at anyone, you have to be ready to throw it right back at yourself. You know, and I really hold myself to that rule of comedy that I will not say something about a person, even if I never met them and I never will meet them, that I would not say about myself. Yeah, Mara Wilson's a good example. You know, I mean, I try not to go after their personal lives. Like, if someone's an alcoholic, I try not to touch that, because it's like, to me, it's just like, and people can and will and stuff, but it's just like, I wouldn't want that happening to me either if I was an alcoholic or something. It just seems like a kick below the belt. But yeah, but SNL has been actually a great vehicle for a lot of people who have gone through really bad times or controversial times to go out there and make fun of themselves and show like, hey, I can laugh at myself. So that's very important. I'll make a lot of jokes about like how like I'm balding and I got a high-pitched voice and like I'm real bombed and stuff like that. I'll make jokes about all of that stuff, and I'll make it about other people too. You know, that's part of the fun. So it's very important. But even then, you don't want that to go too far either, because then people could just be depressed, like, wow, you really hate yourself. What's wrong with you? So, yeah, Blue. That's a good question. Are people born a comedian, or does it develop? I think it's always kind of developing, most likely. A lot of people say, are you born with it or can it be taught? I think it can be taught, but not everyone will pick it up as well. It's like math. You can teach math. It's not like, no, it can't be taught. It's too impossible. No, you can teach it, but not everybody's going to get it. I think comedy's the exact same way. You know, that you don't have to be born with it, but some people are just going to have, whether it be their environment or genes, whatever, they are going to be a little bit more natural about it.
Comedy can be refined also. I mean, Doug was humorous as a kid, but having to restrain him and say, no, that is not funny, and saying that is not funny, and then getting him to say, but this is why, and we would go into it, and we'd talk about it like that. That's just learning the craft.
Yeah, I will say, actually, both my folks are very, very good at that. Like, we would just film these little videos trying to be funny and stuff, and they would just be like, well, that was good. This is crap, and here's why. But it's like, but they took me very seriously, and they weren't ultra mean or anything. And I was like, I really listened, and it's like I really took that stuff in. So no, it's very cool you guys did that. One last question. We'll go with you, Kenny. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this question revolves around the differences between The Simpsons and South Park. The Simpsons past season 10 is not funny anymore.
10. I say 5.
I go 3.
South Park is in season 17 and they have a video game adaptation. They're still fucking hilarious. Well, but here's the thing. Think of a show that you laughed at for years and years, whether it be The Simpsons, Family Guy, or South Park. What would it take for you to not find it funny anymore?
I mean, South Park honestly is a great example. I do think it's still funny. I think part of that is because the bar is still being raised on what you can and can't say and what you can and can't talk about, and they'll always talk about it to a point where people just kind of expect it. So it's like, I'm going to tune in the South Park to be shocked, but to also, like, they're just smart. And that's always what people miss. It's, oh, it's fart humor, it's South Park, it's crude animation. They're smart. They're really smart at what they do, and anyone who really watches it for a while picks up that it's like, well, this is incredible social satire. They do some of the best social satire, in my opinion. In order for it to not be funny, I don't know. There's lots of ways not to be funny. It's very easy to be boring. And some formulas and methods just open themselves up to being talked about for years. You know, the sketch comedy shows can go on for however long they need. Weird Al can go on for however long he needs because he satirizes other people, whatever's new. So if that's new, he's going to be new too. With Simpsons, I think people are just kind of done with that formula and the characters, and it's sort of like, yeah, all these things that used to be really funny, it's like they're just, I don't know what they can do. I mean, it's not something where I'm like, here's what they need to do to save the Simpsons. No, I don't know what they can do. It just seems like that formula has run its course. I don't know what else they can do with it. I mean, I'm not saying there isn't a way, I'm just saying I have no idea what they could do with that setup anymore.
You know, South Park's one of the few shows that I can think of that really breaks the rule of 3. How many times have you heard, "Oh my God, they killed Kenny"?
No, but even then they do variations, and they even explain how he comes back and stuff like that. I mean, they played with that too. I mean, they do the variation, but you're right, they've probably gone the longest and still gotten a laugh.
And you feel bad if you don't see it.
Yeah. So, yeah, guys, we got to open up the panel for the next one. If you didn't get to ask a question, tomorrow at 11, I got a panel after that. We're going to sign autographs and all that stuff. Guys, thank you. Good night. Bye.